Is there a little? Yeah, there we go. Oh, love you, Russ. And how about a big hand for Mr. David Fernie, who pulled that off. He worked, it was a lot of work, and he kept working at it. Bless you. So anyway, so good evening and welcome to the friends of Timmy Gray. And we especially want to welcome Timmy's sister, Bonnie Odell, and her family, who are joining us from Indiana via stream. Bonnie. As some of you have already commented to me tonight, it has been a hard year to gather, for the last year and a half, actually. So wow, does it feel good, very good, to be together, to remember, and to celebrate Timmy. When I think of Timmy, I think a lot about the wonderful Keb Mo tune that Timmy sang so well. Going to make myself a better man. So I'm going to share with you the words of that. Bear with me, because it speaks a lot to Timmy. Sitting here in my problem, what am I going to do now? Am I going to make it? Some way, somehow. Maybe I'm not supposed to know. Maybe I'm supposed to cry. And if nobody ever knows the way I feel, it's all right. That's okay. Because I'm going to make my world a better place. I'm going to keep that smile on my face, teach myself how to understand. I'm going to make myself a better man. Whew. Timmy speaking. Climbing out the window, climbing up the wall. Is anybody going to save me? Or are they going to let me fall? Well, I really don't want to know. I'll just hold on the best I can. And if I fall down, I'll just get right up. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. Because I'm going to make my world a better place. Keep that smile on my face. I'm going to teach myself how to understand and make myself a better man. So, when I think, in many ways, I think this song articulates Timmy's view on things. The world is not changed or made better by large institutions or political movements, but rather by each individual taking responsibility for their own heart and nurturing love. Change comes from inside. That's Timmy. But this song took on a new meaning when Timmy became ill. Facing his mortality, it became more existential. Sitting here in my problem, what am I going to do now? It often occurred to me, what is Timmy going to do now? And what is so beautiful and amazing about him is that through that time, he kept trying to make himself a better man. I never heard Timmy express, "Why me, Lord?" He stuck to his guns. Maybe I'm not supposed to know. maybe I'm not supposed to know. And while there were dark times, he kept that smile on his face. And in his dignified presence, in the face of his demise, he continued to make himself a better man. And I always will admire and love him for this. The world is definitely a better place because of Timmy. So let's hear from some of his friends. We're going to have some people play, and then we're going to have an open mic. So let's start with one of his dear friends, maybe his longest friend from in Humboldt County, Mr. Jeff Landon.
Well, thank you, Fred, for the introduction and for the kind words. Rumor had it that Tim liked to drink scotch. Tim, I love you, baby. They're plastic. All right, well, I have loads and loads and loads of stories and feelings about Tim, and as everybody here probably does as well. Tim touched a lot of lives. I knew him a long time. I think I am his oldest contact and friend in Humboldt County. I never heard him raise his voice. Okay? And there's all kinds of beautiful things I could say. I wrote this song, and many of you have called his answering machine. And at the end, I mean, he had said something, this is Timmy, leave a message. And at the end, I'm going to try and imitate his affectation. Be happy, spread love. And so the name of this song, do you remember that? I didn't do it as well. So, name of this song is Be Happy, Spread Love. So. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. Unlike him to be unkind. Seldom hear a discouraging word. There's a message there, have you heard? 'Cause you call him up on the phone, hear his voice, says all you need to know. Be happy, spread love. Be happy, spread love. Be happy, spread love. Indiana, where we both come from, play guitar and bang them drums. On stage in a band, or late at night behind the board, getting that studio tan. And he can be a clown, write a score, give a listening ear, sing like a bird. Be happy, spread love. Be happy, spread love. Be happy, spread love. This friend of mine's a friend of yours. Open spirit, open doors to our music, to our art. So thank you, Tim, from all our hearts. Be happy, spread love. Be happy, spread love. Be happy, spread love. Be happy, spread love. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Here's to Tim. Love you, baby. See y'all.
Jeff could tell you some big stories, but he's holding it back. Love you, man. Good job. So next, Jackie and Barb.
Going to do some really fancy slide guitar finger picking because I'm really, really good at it. But instead, I'm going to play some chords. Exactly. There's a minor. There's a minor in this song. Oh, wait, sorry. Sorry, this is a bit wilty. Wilty. It's good to be back. It's okay. Sorry, I gotta. Whew. So we did a New Year's Eve show called the what was it called? Sienna. I just drew a blank. It was a whole bunch of bands all together. There was probably the Conglomerates. There were probably 50 of us on stage, and we did some wacky songs. And while we were doing that show, Tim showed up and played a song for Tim Randalls and I when everybody was out of the theater, and we probably listened to it, 5 times in a row. And one night last year, I woke up and I was like, what is that song? I have to remember that song. And it turns out when I remembered it, Timmy had actually played it for a lot of people. And so I learned it, and I'm going to sing it with Barb. And I might close my eyes so I don't cry, so don't take offense. When my body won't hold me anymore, and it finally lets me free, will I be ready? When my feet won't walk another mile, and my lips give their last kiss goodbye, will my hands be steady? When I lay down my fears, my hopes and my doubts, the rings on my fingers and the keys to my house, with no hard feelings. When the sun hangs low in the west, rest, and the light in my chest won't be kept, held at bay any longer. When the jealousy fades away and it's ash and dust for cash and lust, and it's just hallelujah. Oh, and loving the thoughts, and loving the words, and loving the songs we sing in the church with no hard feelings. 'Cause Lord knows they haven't done much good for anyone. He kept me afraid and cold, with so much to have and hold. When my body won't hold me anymore and it finally lets me free, where will I go? Will the trade winds take me south through Georgia grain, or tropical rain, or snow from the heavens? Will I join with the ocean blue, or run into the Savior true, and shake hands laughing, oh, and walk through the night straight to the light, holding the love I've known in my life with no hard feelings. 'Cause Lord knows they haven't done much good for anyone. They kept me afraid and cold, with so much to have and hold. Under the curving sky, I'm finally learning why it matters for me and you to say it and mean it too, for life and its loveliness and all of its ugliness, as good as it's been to me. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. Yeah. So, thanks to Tim for giving me the confidence to come and sing, for supporting so many things, and just being a lovely, lovely person, and spreading, like Jeff said, so much love and so much skill, so much wacky ability to hear so many things, and sharing of music. So the Abbott brothers were someone he introduced to me, so give it a listen. He also loved a song called Ain't No Man Can Change Me, Ain't No Man Can Enslave Me, Ain't no man a man who can change the shape my soul is in. There ain't nobody here who can cause me pain or raise my fears, 'cause I got nothing but love to share.
Keep on.
If you're looking for the proof I'm truth, you'll find it there. Ba-doo-ba-da-doo-ba-boom-ba-boom.
wonderful. That lady can sing and run a business and run a playhouse and keep it going during a pandemic. And thank you, Barb, for all your years of conducting the gospel choir. So now, two dear friends, really long-time dear friends of Timmy's, Nancy and Richard.
Oh dear. Oh, is this better? Ah, there we go.
Is this working?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so we first met Tim when he was a student at HSU in the music department, voice major, I believe, and I was his accompanist. And so that would have been back somewhere in the 80s. I don't even remember when. But of course, he was as always, a delightful person to work with. And you heard his voice. The very first musical piece that you heard this evening was him singing a lovely art song, probably from somewhere in that period. Yeah, he has a beautiful, beautiful singing voice. So, that was nice. And then a number of years later, I needed to have a sound system in my new studio and asked Tim to help me put it together. And so Tim ends up setting up a sound system in my studio, setting up a sound system in Richard's studio, and then coming in and repairing it every so often, over the years.
Didn't we have 3 studios?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right.
He fixed us all.
He did. He did. And over the years, Tim and Richard had several collaborations.
Nancy and I, did we go around the world in 1 year? I don't know. We were in India for a long time. And, we were in India, and I do a lot of painting and drawing. And I found, I was almost dead, I thought, in the Himalayas. Nancy took care of me and with a guru. And I was looking up in a ceiling, and there was a blue ceiling, and suddenly I saw a character that became known for me with the Ochre Man. And I looked up and I said, oh, no, he's that guy. And I started taking pictures, drawings, and they came to be a story. I don't know how many there was, like 20
at least, I think.
Images. And when we came back from India, we'd already known Timmy, and I said, "Would you be interested in doing a whole program, Timmy, with with music and a soundscape and pictures of the Ochre Man?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, let's do that." And many months, but it was such a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. And I want to say, when you first saw Timmy in your studio, Nancy, mm-hmm. He didn't know me, I didn't know him, and after he was listening to Nancy and helping her, or her helping him, he saw pictures on the studio wall, and he found them very interested. And if you know me at all, there's sort of a sensuality in my work. And Timmy didn't know me, and he said, "Nancy, who are these pictures about?" And I think Timmy was sort of falling for Nancy, and she's not the only one he fell for. But let's see. So he says.
So he asked me about them, right?
Yeah, he said, "Where are those pictures from?" And It's from my husband, Nancy said. And he said, oh, damn.
But so one of the other ways that we got to know Tim was through backpacking. And I think this was one of the reasons that Fred asked us to talk, because it maybe isn't a way that a whole lot of you knew him, but we were privileged to go backpacking with him a number of times, and he hiked like a demon. He would be way out ahead of everybody else, carrying more than anybody else, you know. And then what he would do is, if somebody was lagging behind, especially because they had a heavy load, he would drop his pack up on the side of the mountain and come back and carry that person's pack up the trail. And I've seen him do that several times. Just the way he was.
Yeah. We all have stories about Timmy, and is this the end of our story for now?
I think this is pretty much the end of our story. I think we've told enough.
Yes.
But you get the idea.
We love him very much.
We sure do love him very much, and we're privileged to know him in several different ways.
And
it was good.
all of the, I mean, there's 1,000 people here in this place. It's wonderful.
So while we're taking this little time here, I'd like to thank Tim and Russ. Look at for the sound they're doing. I mean, how many times did you see these guys doing this stuff, you know, and you just take it for granted. They work hard, and they were here at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock and working this out, so thank you. So Nancy and Richard, you know, you were dear friends, tremendous artists in your own right. Timmy saw that and he loved it. So now let's introduce Lindsay and friends. Thank you.
You got this, Russ?
All right. Woohoo! Teamwork. Sure.
Putting the old card way better.
All right. So, many of Tim's friends have known him for a long time, and Corey and I initially met Tim back in 2013 when we started kind of playing music together. I don't know, we wanted to record a record, and then he's just been a really close, dear friend ever since. And then this is Kimmy and Russ from Scooper Mountain. Thanks for reminding me of your name. Like, I needed that. And they also got to record some songs with Tim. And my daughter and I, Vela, who's here, we got to spend a lot of time with Tim towards like the later part of his life. And I wanted to share a story and play a song that relates to the story. So we were rushing him around from like different doctor's appointments one day, And we listened to a whole lot of Steely Dan when we hung out with Tim. Like, as anyone knows, like, he loves Steely Dan. And we listened to a lot of Steely Dan. His left foot was always tapping along. And he and I, like, got this idea. We were to call on the radio station. We were, like, driving around town and request a Steely Dan song. And we knew the DJ, and the DJ's like, oh, this is going out to Tim and Vela and Lindsay who are running around. This is a Steely Dan song. And this song comes on, and we're like 30 seconds into it, and Tim just like blurts out of nowhere, Steely Dan is a dildo. and like, and I was like, okay. And Vela, like 15 seconds later in the backseat's like, hey mom, what's a dildo? So, if you can just like take yourself, it was hilarious and so awkward. So the whole time we're like riding around Fortuna, and I'm explaining fielding dildo questions to my daughter, and Tim just sitting there in the passenger seat, just like soaking it all up, like a motherfucker. And it was hilarious. I'm gonna play this Steely Dan song for you right now.
Now you swear and kick and beg us that you're not a gambling man. Then you find you're back in Vegas with a handle in your hand. Your black cards can make you money, so you hide them when you're able. In the land of milk and honey, you must set them on the table. Yeah, you go back, Jack, do it again. We'll turn it round and round. You go back, Jack, do it again.
Wow, that was beautiful. Timmy would be singing right along. So now we'd like to introduce a beautiful person in our community, Miss Joan Shirley.
This one? Thanks. Hi. I just came from my other job, which is posing for black velvet clown art, because there's very little work for actors these days. But it's good to be here. I feel a bit like trying to tell you how great Tim was. It's like Department of Redundancy Department. So I'm going to talk about something else. What's a good death? What is a good death? I think Timmy had a good death. I know that he suffered for a long time, but he had a good death. The last time I saw Tim was the day before he died, and he seemed very, very peaceful. Could have been the drugs, I don't know, but he seemed very peaceful. And when I think of what a good death would be, or the people that I've helped to have a good death, some of it involves being surrounded by your family or the people who love you. And at a certain point, none of that matters. But for a long time, it had to matter for Tim. And it's this group of people that gave Tim a good death. And so I feel like the people, and you know who you are, the ones who did the real heavy lifting. Fred and Joyce and Marla and all of those other people who spent time with Tim, who gave money to Tim. I feel like this is a celebration of you as well. I feel like I didn't have a lot of time to give to Tim at the end, and I feel like I'm small potatoes in the game of helping out. But I know there are people here who helped out so big time, and to me, this is a celebration of this community of artists, of musicians, of sound engineers, of video recording artists, of people who play music and paint pictures and do all that kind of stuff. Those are the people who showed up for Timmy. And then nothing against family in Indiana, wherever you are. I hope you realize how much we all loved your brother. But it was not blood relatives who took care of Tim. It was this family. And I'm very, very happy to be a member of this family. And the last thing I want to say is, and Tim was lucky because he got this too. He got people, maybe because he lingered, He got people telling him what a great person he was. So if you know people that are on the verge and haven't been told, tell them. Don't wait till the memorial. Tell them while they're living.
Wow. You know, we've seen Joan in many shows. She has filled our hearts so many times, created so much belief in our community. So it's great to hear you say that. So, while they're transitioning here, we've got an official proclamation. Not some phony comments from people like me. This is serious. Okay, we got a, look at that, a seal. Okay, but it's a beautiful sentiment. And Timmy would be proud of this. In deepest sympathy, the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors, in recognition of his service to Humboldt County, adjourned our meeting in honor and memory of Timothy Gray. On this day, April 27, 2021, we are saddened by your loss. Virginia Bass, Steve Madrone, Rex Bone, Michelle Bushnell, and Mike Wilson, who brought this to us. Thank you, Mike. And so coming up next is Eugene with Timbada. Is that right? Did I pronounce that right? Yeah, see, I know. Gee. White guy. Okay. Enough said. You guys are up? You guys getting there? Okay.
And I'll try to say one or two things here while we're setting up. You know, I don't have to convince anybody here how brilliant Tim was. I mean, if you're here, you know that already. You know, that's why you're here. And a lot of people said that already. You know, we all, what really has struck me, you know, tonight and in kind of reflecting on Tim is, you know, how many different people he touched and how many different situations and how many different phases of life over the years and how people know him the same way through different things. But they all kind of know him the same, you know, through all these different situations. And Tim and I go back to the late 1980s at HSU where I was like a 20-something-year-old brand new professor and Tim was like this super talented student that was like, everybody wanted to work with, you know. beautiful voice. He studied percussion with me. I mean, he was already good. There was not a whole lot I was going to teach him about playing the snare drum or drum set, but he wanted to learn classical percussion, so he studied marimba and timpani. He actually played a timpani concerto, like back in 1987 with the percussion ensemble. He was so proud of himself after that one, you know. It was like, and, you know, rightly so, and I could tell all kind of stories as we all could. Looks like I better tell something here. So I got a couple. One that I will say is, you know, back in those days, there wasn't a lot of music printed for the steel pan, so I was taking everything off of recordings I would hear. I remember one day when Tim came to see me in my office, I was playing this cassette tape of this tune. I was trying to transcribe a cassette tape. There was piano in a practice room across the hall. I had it cranking out of my office. I was at the piano trying to figure out one chord. I had the whole tune transcribed, but there was one transition chord I just couldn't get. I was calling it like the mystery chord. I had the bass note, I had the top pan note, I couldn't figure out the harmony. And I'm like playing the bass note and the top note and basically hitting just about every note I could in between trying to get this chord to sound right. And Tim comes down, he's like, "What you doing?" You know, and I'm like, "Man, you know, I'm trying to figure out this chord, listen to this tune." He's like, let me hear it. It's like, yeah, I play the tape again. Tim like walks over to the piano and he couldn't call the chord. But what he did instead is he literally played every note. He was able to hear and distill every note. And then we like sat there for a half hour trying to figure out what to call the chord. It was like a D11 with no third or something, like some totally weird chord, you know, but he had every note. So that was really cool. We're missing one person here. Where might he be? Anybody seen David Peñalosa? We'll try to get him on. Okay, so I'll tell you something else. Tim recorded and mastered every Humboldt Calypso band and HSU Calypso band or CD we ever did or recording we ever did, you know, probably 4 or 5 of them in total over the long period of years, you know. So, one memory, you know, days in the studio with him were just, we always drug out the mastering process like almost a year, I think, so we could just hang out in the studio and listen to it over and over again, you know. But I'll never forget a particular circumstance stands out in my mind. We did a recording with some guest artists from Trinidad who came up in the Caribbean, recorded it in JVD. Tim did like a 48-track recording, you know, like went crazy with it. And on one song, the bass drum pedal like came loose from the bass drum in the super subtle transition, soft part of the piece, you know, everything drops out. It's just kind of like drum set and the bass drum pedal like kind of came loose from the beater came loose from the pedal. So all of a sudden the bass drum drops out for like 8 bars. And we had another pedal backstage, and I can remember people scurrying and switching out pedals, and you know, we like fixed it on the fly on the gig. But you know, those are the kind of things you put out of your mind quick, you know. But it comes to listening to the recording, we're listening back to the playback of it, and it's a beautiful piece, beautiful solo. We really wanted to get it. We get to this place, and all of a sudden the bass drum there's no bass drum. And I'm like, oh man, that's where that happened. And you know, I'm like, in my mind, I'm going, oh man, I bet you I could, like, if I pull some strings, I could probably sign out JVD. I'll set up a bass drum in there. We'll check the tuning. I'll tune it up. I'll just, like, stay there and play the bass drum for 8 bars. Tim, you can come. Before I got done saying that, Tim's like, let's try this. He had sampled the bass drum sound from a different part in the song, put it on a MIDI keyboard, and he stood there with, like, one key and went, like, doo, 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 doo. In a matter of like 5 minutes, it was fixed, man. And I will defy anybody to listen to that CD and figure out where that spot is. It was like perfect. So that's a great memory right there. He wants me to keep. our guy wants me to keep talking. I don't know, man. Maybe we're going to have to play without him. Something might have come up, you know. I'll say one last thing, and then we're going no matter what here. You know, man, it's like nobody's been doing anything for a long time. I mean, we all know that, you know, so we haven't been getting together and rehearsing for that long. We actually got together, had our very first rehearsal in like a year and a half last week. And it was fantastic just to play with great friends and play some music again. And, you know, we talked about putting this piece together for Tim. The piece we're going to play here is a piece by Len Boogsy Sharp called Cry, and it's a song he wrote in kind of like this kind of like minor ballad that goes into this gospel thing, and it's like a song that's played in Trinidad a lot for, you know, when people pass, and so it's a beautiful song. Tim actually mastered this song on one of our CDs about 15 years ago. I remember being in the studio with him. He loved this song, you know, so it has some meaning, but I was practicing at home last night, making sure I had my notes. I hope I have them. But, you know, my daughter was getting ready to go to bed. I have a 7-year-old girl at home, and she was getting ready to go to bed, and I'm like playing through it, and you know, I kind of played through it. I came into the bathroom to kind of help her get ready, and she's like, "Dad, why do you look like that?" You know, I guess I was contemplative or whatever. I'm like, "Oh, you know, I was practicing this song. We're gonna play it for my friend who died tomorrow," and that kind of thing. So, oh man, this is where it's hard. Dude. This is where it's hard, you know. So she's like, "Tell me about him." And I'm like, well, you know, he was a great musician. He was funny. He was silly. But, you know, what I'll remember is how he had a way of, like, had a positive view on life. And I said that, and she said something like, she goes, "He sounds nice." You know, and so that was a sweet moment. So let's play this tune, man. I don't know what to do here. Let's play this tune. We're missing one guy, but we're missing more than one guy, right? So this one's for Tim. It's called Crying. That one was for Tim right there.
Well, imagine if they had had the full band. I mean, they were awesome. God, what a beautiful song. And you know, we got to thank Eugene. He's another one of these people who just has contributed so much to the community. You know, just how many teenage kids have learned the pans, you know? I mean, so anyway, so next up is somebody who has really had more to do with the sound of Humboldt County than very few people. And it's an honor to introduce Mr. Russ Cole.
So I don't, sometimes you don't remember where you first met somebody. Hey, look, Marty. It just fell out of my notebook. Marty's band, Old Dog, they're great. I don't know what that was. It might be from the lost liner notes. We won't talk about that. So I don't really remember the first time I met Tim, but I'm pretty certain I met him through Jeff Landon. And Jeff Landon used to have a recording studio. He said he had some stories. Tim and was instrumental in him starting the studio. It was down on South H, and it was called Vinyl Taco. And I drew the logo, yes. It was a record, like a vinyl record in the shape of a taco shell with the filling was money. So you knew if you recorded at Vinyl Taco, I mean, the first Mr. Bungle recording at Vinyl Taco. So I knew him through that. I'd seen him play in bands, and we were both engineers at that studio. So we worked on projects together, and then over the years, he would like anytime I needed help with a project, whether it was, I used to make these Christmas tapes, every couple of years, a compilation of music, and it would always be some sort of intro that I would have to create, and who would help me? Tim would help me, of course, And one time we were there, and it was this thing where like I had a song, a partial song, and I was going to play guitar on it, and so I had my guitar there, and of course I'm not a great guitar player. I never play anymore, but the guitar was sitting there, and he picked it up, and he started tuning it to a different tuning, and I didn't even know he played guitar. I knew he was a drummer. I knew he played some keyboards, and he tunes it to this weird tuning, and then he plays Joni Mitchell's "The Magdalene Laundries," and I'm like completely blown away. I didn't know he played, and then he just does this thing that's just beautiful, and he did it here as part of the Joni Mitchell annual tributes that happen here, and maybe again this year. But Timmy has done it at that. But anyway, and then we've done all kinds of projects. I helped them when they recorded the Calypso Band at the Van Duzer, or the Interfaith Gospel Choir at the Arkley, and we worked on so many things together. And but what I want to share with you is this one night is in this building. It was in the what is Redwood Rocks. I'm not going to read the whole thing, Jeff. And the Appliances were playing. And the Appliances was Fred and Joyce and Gary and Jeff and Brian Hurleman and Paul DeMarc, who's also here. I mean, most of the band is actually here tonight. Charles Horn would sit in once in a while. But Tim was their sound man. And one night, there was a bunch of things going on. And I wasn't working that night, but I went to, it was in the fall, it was in November of 1990. I actually wrote an account of it that I had completely forgotten about and found a couple of years ago, maybe. And so I'm going to read some of it. I was going to try and edit it for this, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read some of it. But Tim figures in this, and it's great. It was one of those nights in Humboldt that you love to hate. Days, now this is 1990, this is 30 years ago when there wasn't music well now actually we've gone back to that where there isn't any music. So though that's changing again now, right? Days, sometimes weeks go by with little to do culturally other than the usual diversions, movies, dinners, yawn. My handwriting. And then suddenly there are those nights where everything is happening simultaneously, such as the case in early November 1990. And then I have calendars, so I actually knew the date. It's November 2nd. So faced with a plethora of options and unwilling to miss most of them, I plotted a course that would enable me to touch base at all the right places at hopefully the right time, trying to capture one or two of those elusive moments that make the routine of everyday life recede to a vanishing point and make you glad to be alive. I arrived at the nearly empty Creamery dance hall just after midnight to see the Appliances in their last set, and there were barely more audience members than musicians on stage. The sparse crowd was doing a free-form line dance parallel to the front of the performing area. There was no stage. It was just flat, and everybody was on the same level, right? The group played a couple of tunes. You know what? I'm going to read the whole thing because it's good. And Fred figures in this, and the Tim part is at the end. So, the group played a couple of tunes before starting what was their last song of the set. It was the old dance number "Cool Jerk," originally recorded by the Capitals, which they'd played in many of their bands. During this one tune alone, the Appliances sounded like three different bands: a cookin' R&B outfit, a Southern-style Allman Brothers-ish rock group, and a twisted jazz combo. Keyboardist Brian Hurleman tore into lengthy piano solo that careened all over the map, comping chords like a demented Mose Allison. guitarist Fred Neighbor, sitting at the table in front here, then took over, ripping off complicated runs in a blurred frenzy of notes. Eventually, his solo complete, he brought the band down behind him and started into a long rap about the need to dance, finding the right moves, etc. Somehow this morphed into talking about regressing to being a child, then an infant, and first coming into the world. Fred started yowling, a series of cathartic primal screams, while guitarist vocalist Joyce Howe cheerfully intoned, "Sorry, the number you've dialed is not in service." By now, everyone except drummer Paul DeMarc had stopped playing, looking on in amused amazement, wondering where things were going next. Finally, even DeMarc stopped, doubled over his snare drum in fits of laughter. Fred's head dropped, chin on chest, seemingly exhausted by his outbursts. Then, silence. I'm thinking, the song is over, right? But no. Fred's head snaps back up, and he steps to the mic and says, "But then you wake up, and it's a brand new day." 1, 2, 3, right back into Cool Jerk. It was one of those special moments when a band goes beyond the boundaries of every song, groping for the groove, searching for a new meaning, and finding unexpected new life in the lyrics and notes. Spontaneous moments where they're an unthinking whole, transcending normal strictures. See what you miss when you stay home, or for that matter, when you go home early. Never go home early. Always stay to the end. The capper was the encore, demanded by me and the dozen or so folks still on the dance floor, including benefit volunteers and sound man Tim Gray. We made a loud collective din. Brian Hurleman, the keyboard player, started a repeated 3-chord progression while Fred, Joyce, and Tim engaged in operatic vocalizations. Neighbor whispered sincere, sweet nothings, eyes closed, ringing the meaning out of the syncopated words, "I love you, I need you, I want you," until they became a mantra, an absurdist meditation of creation. Meanwhile, Tim Gray was singing about killing a bear, throwing it on the hood of his truck, and driving down Main Street to prove his love. When he was finished with all the permutations he could think of, he picked up a can of soda and sang the contents of 7-Up. It was a great moment of impromptu musical theater, hilariously funny, and left me aching from all the laughing. So, yeah. That was, and there's many more moments of Tim spontaneously doing something that you didn't expect and completely delighted you, even if it maybe offended you or shocked you or anyway. I love him and I miss him, and I'm glad I wrote this down. Yeah, we'll have to get them up here.
Always be wary of sound men. They're, between Russ and Sean Bohannon, they have more pirated tapes. Some lost gems that only they own. But anyway, thank you, Russ. And thank you for all the tremendous work you've done. And so, our last little program thing is going to be Peggy Martinez, Marla Joy, Jeff Kelly doing Love's in Need. And then we'll have a little, then there'll be an open mic. We'll take a little break, and then if people want to tell stories or do what they want to do, they can. Anyway, and there's more food.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Wow, it's really great to be here to share this celebration of Tim's life. I'm talking a little bit so I can, there we go. Thank you for the monitor. So we're going to sing a song, or I'm going to sing a song, and Jeff and Marla, and I mean, there were percussionists in the green room. There was no way I was not going to ask them to play along with us, because this song kind of calls out for that. This is a Stevie Wonder song. It's called Love's in Need of Love Today. And I heard it the first time at the farmer's market, because Tim sang it in the band with Fred and Joyce. And I'd never heard the song before, and I thought it was really beautiful, and I think it's very apropos for now. And there are parts for you guys to sing on, and you will hear them. It's a choir part. Checking one. Try not to make that pea popping sound. And I want to say hi to Bonnie in Indiana, if you're still there.
Don't do this.
Don't do pea popping noises. Okay. Pea popping. Little. Okay. Little. Okay. So just come in when Marla comes in. Yeah. So we haven't rehearsed. Yeah. You know, it's just us.
It's
you guys.
just us.
It's just us.
And
all right. Okay, so I'm going to count it because I
count
want
it,
it to be
Peggy.
kind of slow.
Tempo is lovely.
Okay.
Tempo is
So
everything.
I'm thinking like 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's faster than it was last night.
Well, hold on.
But that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
I
Oh,
can
wait a
do
minute.
this.
You know, you guys, I'm remiss. I just want to introduce. I mean, you all know Marla Joy. And you know.
Y'all know Jeff Kelly.
Yeah. So.
That's how I feel.
And now you know David.
And we know David Peñalosa, he was busy. Okay,
And Howie
for
Kaufman.
the last band, and Howie Kaufman.
And that's Peggy Martinez, right?
So, okay, so we're gonna play this song. Here it goes. It goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, ooh. Good morning or evening, friend. Here's your friendly announcer. I have some serious news to pass on to everybody. What I'm about to say, do we not have Marla? Could mean the world's disaster. There we go.
There she is.
Could change your joy and laughter to tears and pain. That love's in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hey, it's gone round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. false of evil plans to make you its possession, and it will if we let it destroy everybody. We all must take precautionary measures. If love and peace you treasure, then you'll hear me when I say, oh, you know that it's love in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hate's gone round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. Love's in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Days going round and it's breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. You know I love in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hate's going round, oh, it's breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. Love. All right, we love you, Tim. Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. We love Tim Gray. There's going to be food, you guys, delicious kebabs, and we need you guys to eat, okay, and drink, and to come up and share stories. So thank you all. We love you guys.
There's just one little thing I want to do. I don't need the compliment. I could barely get it together. Actually, I just figured it out a couple hours ago. But
Okay.
I know. So this is a song Tim used to sing. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. And yeah, he sang this a lot. And being Scottish, this was like, Bonnie, you know this. So.
That was beautiful, Marla. That was beautiful.
Thanks, Marty.
Touches my heart. Do you feel for sure? We're here to celebrate Tim, right? It's an amazing friend of ours, somebody we loved and drew a connection with, and he spent a lot of time. I got to know him maybe 22 years ago or so when in recording with a folk band called Old Dog, and it's just he nurtured us. We came in, we want to share these songs, we want to play these songs. And it's been a journey with Tim, all the good times, and then to see him start to struggle with his illness. But we were recording, Old Dog recorded like 4 projects, and then Compost Mountain Boys, and so we were in the studio all the time, spending this wonderful time with Tim, and then listening and mixing and talking and sharing your life. And so as things got a little bit progressed and he was struggling, it was heavy on the hearts of many, I know. And I wrote this poem for him, and I thought that I would try and sing it to you. But this was kind of a back and forth, maybe him and me. Could I have some of that Marla reverb? Let's see there. Oh, it's getting better, I think. Okay, let's see. I pulled this out. I haven't looked at this in 3 years, so I pulled this out. So we'll like they said earlier, a little unrehearsed here. Do we have reverb now? Okay, let's see. Days keep turning. Days keep turning. You think tomorrow may not come. Well, true that we should live that way, smiling at the sun, finding joy in wind and fog, the light, the dark, the stars that come to shine. And the warm sun sets again. No moon tonight. My darkest hour, I see no light. Peace come near, now steal the fright. Train disappearing in the night. The days keep turning, train disappearing to the night. Days keep turning. Days keep turning. Ooh. Well, I think tomorrow may just come. Promise not, but hope we hold till the day is done. Finding joy in every turn, the love, the loss, the yearning as it burns, and the warm sun sets again. Well, I see the moon, full and rising red as blood. Feelings, premonitions flood, circles spinning till they're done. The wheels keep spinning, timeline spinning along. Days keep turning, the days keep turning, days keep turning. Really miss. There's a collective missing of Timmy here tonight. It's a lot of love. I really appreciate you all. We embrace the man, and he lives in our hearts right now.